I was the voice behind the microphone, the man with the Bible in his hand and a fire in his voice. Every Sunday, people filled the pews to hear me preach about the love of Christ, the power of the resurrection, and the glory of salvation. I was certain, confident, unshakable. But what if I told you that everything I believed in was slowly unraveling, that the God I served felt more distant than ever, that the answers I gave others never satisfied me? My name is James, name changed. And this is how I walked away from the cross and bowed my head to the ground. I wasn't just a Christian. I was a pastor, seminary trained, ordained, the leader of a growing church in the Midwest with over 1,000 members. My sermons were streamed, my words quoted, my life envied. But beneath the surface of applause and amens, there was a war inside me. It started with questions, innocent ones, about the Trinity, the concept of original sin, the divinity of Jesus. I thought I could study my way into stronger faith, but the deeper I went, the less sense it all made. So I dug deeper. It was a conversation that sparked the spiral. A young Muslim man visited my church out of curiosity. After the service, he waited quietly until the crowd cleared. He asked a simple question: why does God need to die to forgive? I laughed at first, gave him the usual apologetics, but that night I couldn't sleep. That question echoed louder than any choir. Weeks turned to months. I reread the Bible with a fresh lens, desperate to reconcile the contradictions I'd once brushed aside. How could God be all-knowing, yet Jesus say he doesn't know the hour? Why would God allow himself to be killed, mocked, spat on by his own creation, if he was truly sovereign? My sermons became hollow. My prayers felt like echoes. In an empty room, I began watching debates, listening to voices outside my tradition. That's when I found Zakir Naik, Shabir Ali, and others. Their logic wasn't emotional, it was clinical, precise, challenging, and it scared me. I was supposed to bring others to Christ, but now I was the one slipping away. I remember the night I first opened the Quran, not out of faith, but out of frustration. I expected confusion. Instead, I found clarity. I expected mythology. I found mathematics, the structure, the repetition, the insistence on God's oneness. It felt like a voice I'd been waiting to hear my entire life. Not a son, not a three-in-one, but one, absolute, eternal, unborn. Still, I was afraid. I had a family, a congregation, a reputation. How could I explain this shift? I was torn between truth and identity. Then came the letter, an anonymous message left on my desk. Just one sentence. You no longer believe, do you? No name, no signature. But it hit like a hammer. Someone knew. Someone saw the storm beneath my smile. That week, I stood in the pulpit, but the words wouldn't come. I stared at my notes, then at the people, their eyes full of trust, and I lied again and again, until I couldn't anymore. I took a sabbatical, told the elders I was burnt out, but I wasn't tired. I was transforming. The Quran became more than a book. It became a mirror, and every verse reflected what I had been missing. I found myself praying secretly, quietly, on the floor of my study, unsure if I was doing it right, but certain that God was listening. The day I said the Shahada was quiet, no lightning, no fanfare, just me and God. And for the first time, I felt him. Not as a theological puzzle, but as one. I wept, not from guilt, but relief. Islam didn't erase my past. It completed my journey. I still loved Jesus, but now I understood him not as God, but as a prophet, a servant, like me, like all of us. I left the pulpit, sold my home, moved to a new city. I started over, and I never looked back. I met a small Muslim community that welcomed me not as a pastor or a convert, but as a brother, My first Ramadan was hard, fasting, praying, learning Arabic, but I felt more spiritually alive than I had in decades. People ask if I regret it, if I miss the church, the titles, the applause, the power, the truth. I miss nothing. I gained everything, a purpose, a peace, a direct connection to the creator of the heavens and the earth. No mediator, no mystery, just one God. To my former congregation, if you're watching this, I never meant to deceive you. I was searching, just like you. And to those still doubting, still questioning, don't be afraid of the answers, because sometimes they lead you to the truth you never saw coming.